Howdy folks, well, welcome back. I want to thank Bob for sending me this Gigapan picture. I gotta admit I was surprised. I don't know why at this point I should be surprised anymore. I did the last 6 videos with some Gigapans showing some really incredible wreckage all throughout those pictures. And here once again we have the very same thing. Now I'm looking at Mount Sharp, and Bob wanted me to look down lower at some of the things that he was looking at, and I'm going to get back to that. But this Mount Sharp area has stuff all over it, just like all the previous videos, the last 6 videos. And because of all this wreckage that you'll be able to see clearly, it's caused me to go back and look at some of the stuff that I've done before, and sure enough, it's in just about every picture. So, obviously something really bad happened in Gale Crater, and it happened a really, really long time ago. Now, there are all kinds of things on top of the mountain here, and some of it is, it surprised me. I was overlooking it again, and then at the last second I spotted this stuff, and some of it's really obvious, and some of it you have to look pretty hard. But in this picture here, I'm looking at what's in the top right corner over there, and it looks like a triangular craft. And by the way, there is no shortage of triangular crafts. In all of the last 6 videos, I showed numerous ones, and I'm going to show you numerous ones in this picture too, and I've let a lot of them go because they're not as obvious. And it seems like there's a couple different kinds of triangular crafts. There's the very long, narrow ones that seem to have a turret and maybe a gun on it, or a couple of guns. And then there's the smaller ones, like this one here. And it's just a small triangular craft that's perched up there on the edge of the hillside up here on top of Mount Sharp. Nobody's ever looked at Mount Sharp, to my knowledge. My knowledge is limited. I don't have a lot of time, so I don't get to spend a lot of time looking to see. Anyway, I was surprised to see so much wreckage up there as well. And I'm really hoping that the Mount Sharp is going to be different than the buttes that we've looked at, because the buttes were solid, man-made material from top to bottom. And there's it looks like that's possible that's what we're seeing here on Mount Sharp. Now right here, I had overlooked, I'd been looking at this dark, what looks like a rocky outcropping in the front here. And in actuality, that is the side of a decimated triangular craft. Can you see it? Coming in from about the 8 o'clock position is the nose of it, and coming in from about the 2 o'clock position is the tail end of it. And they're always the same. They're triangular, and they have sort of a fantail rear end. And you can see it there. It's flattened out. It's a little bit better than some of the ones that I've chose not to show you. Excuse me. Because you can see the outline of this thing, but there's not very much detail on it. And as I said, there's no shortage of them. There's something about that shape and that era and the time when this happened. They must have been extremely plentiful, because they are all over the place. I mean, everywhere. And sometimes they're in places where you're not even really sure what you're looking at. You might only be seeing parts of them. But I don't know what it is with the triangular shape. But there are a lot of them. Now here's a craft of some sort. Again, initially you think you're looking at rocky outcrops or something. But of course, when you go in on it, everything changes completely. And you see the texture on the side of this. Now, I want to mention something. I know coincidentally that Mars Anomalies and Beyond is concentrating on the same picture that I am right now. So I don't think he's following me, and I'm not following him. It's just a coincidence. But this texture stuff here on the side, this is what we've seen throughout all of the last 6 videos, and here it is now again on Mount Sharp. And it's not just what we see as the texture of on a vessel or something, because in this picture of Mount Sharp, much of what you think you're looking at as ground is not ground. Now here's a look above this messy stuff here. Look up there. Do you see all the individual plates, all the individual segments? This covers the ground everywhere on Mount Sharp, you guys. There are huge, ginormous sheets of this, and this wreckage that we're looking at right in the front is the leading edge of what comes out from underneath that sheet or those segments. Look at this bunch of trash here, and this up on the rock here on the left-hand side. All kinds of crazy debris, quite obvious that it's not rocks. I always have to throw that in because people always want to say it looks like rocks. Boy, I get tired of hearing that. And it's always after they look really long and hard for about a second. So, yeah, that's the leading edge of all of these large sheets of, I don't know what to call it. We'll call it the skin of a vessel. Maybe there were some really huge vessels up here that have come down. I don't know. It's really perplexing for me. Now looking at up there, straight up on top, right in the middle there, you see that dark section. Here's another example of wreckage. Now this one has no skin on it, and this is what we see all the time. It's been skinned, and it shows all of the inner workings of everything that's in the middle of it. And while we can't really tell for sure with this picture, it does have some of the same features that we see on triangular crafts. You know, very long, narrow, and pointed. There are other things too that we see, but we're just not seeing it on this one for whatever reason. But I want you to pay attention to the ground. Now, this little thing here seems to be a vessel. The front of it is sticking out. It kind of looks like we're looking at, the cockpit there, like the cockpit window. And but look at the ground around the sides of it. You see these segments and these rectangular shapes all throughout the ground. Okay, that's not obfuscation. This is what it looks like, and it's not ground. Just like on the bluffs in the previous videos, we see big walls that you assume originally are rock, and then you look closely and it's all segmented. This is the same thing. The only difference is this is laying down. It's not standing up. And coming up, I'm going to have a video that's going to really show this a lot. Kind of excited about that. Now here's another triangular craft, and actually there's two destroyed crafts here, but I'm omitting one because it's a little hard to see. But the smaller one is pretty much right in the center of the screen. Now, definitely right in the center of the screen. And the other one is right behind it, but it's kind of nondescript, so I'm not going to bother getting into that. But here's another triangular craft. This one's a little bit different than the other ones that I've seen. One of the things we always see is the front end of these pointy triangular crafts are always smashed up. Whatever happens, whatever the cataclysm was, it ends up these front ends of these things get all smashed up. I suppose it's the weakest part of the whole vessel. And when I do it in the negative like this, it really helps bring it out. Now, there are various places on Mount Sharp here where we see what looks like big holes, like sinkholes. Now, sinkholes that we're used to usually come from water underground, eroding underneath, and then the holes drop. But we don't have that. So how are these holes put in? Are they punched in? That's a great, I just don't have answers for everything. There's too many huge questions that we really can't answer. But there are quite a few of these holes. They're punched in. They go down, fairly deep. And there's just no way to explain how that happens. unless they were, meteorites came in or something. I don't know. But here's a couple more holes, and this one on the right, bottom right, seems to have a big sheet of something going over the top, kind of bridging it from one side to the other. I don't know what it is. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is, but I do know one thing. It's not natural. And we've seen it all before. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great day.